Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. My name is Sébastien. I am a PM on the Copilot Extensibility team. And today I want to continue the series we started last week about building declarative agents for Copilot Chat. My goal today will be to configure some of the agent capabilities, the ones that are kind of built in to the agent using VS Code and using all of our Pro Code tooling we have available for you. So we're going to enable embedded knowledge. We're going to configure code interpreter, and we're going to do also some image generation. Even though today it seems to be a lighter set of things we're going to try to do, I really think that this unlocks amazing potential when you start using these things together, and you're going to see that in our demo. So first, let's talk about what are capabilities. Capabilities in Copilot are an array of things that basically tells Copilot what your agent can do beyond just basic chat. If you don't configure any of these capabilities, what you're going to get a great agent, but that is grounded in the knowledge of the model that your agent is working on. So if you're using Copilot Chat, you're going to get the latest models, and you're going to automatically use that. It's great for non-work related things, or it might be great for ways to brainstorm ideas where you don't want to have some of the work context as part of it, or you don't want to do some interesting capabilities, but it's definitely limiting when you really want to make it useful. So think about the capabilities as a feature menu. We're giving you a list of capabilities. In the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to cover all the types of capabilities we have natively in the manifest that enables our declarative agents to really showcase the value of Copilot. So you're going to have to enable, you will want to enable what you need and leave the rest off. So we're thinking about this as an opt-in mechanism. You want to say, I want to have my instructions, I want to have these behaviors, and that's it. So in that case, it's really, really easy to really build something that is tailored to your need. It also ensures that you don't get blindsided by something that the agent starts doing that you were not ready for, right? And that is something that is really, really important. You want to be able to have like something that is reproducible. Like if you want to be able to reproduce your agent, you want to be able to confirm and make sure that it's something that is predictable from an outcome standpoint. So we're going to use today 3 built-in capabilities. First, we're going to use embedded knowledge. And what is interesting is that there's another session later today on embedded knowledge in SharePoint Embed. So that's quite connecting. That's great. So what embedded knowledge is it's a bundle of documents that you can put directly in the app package. It's not something that you point directly to SharePoint, for instance. No. It's something that you just say, I want to have these files bundled with my agent, and I want that to be the package. So think about something. Maybe it is, I don't know, a list of your own personal best practices that you want to share to people outside your organizations. Well, you will be able to do that. And then it grounds the responses that you're going to get directly inside that content. And you don't need any cloud setup. You don't need SharePoint to a SharePoint site or whatsoever. You basically just need to embed these files inside the app package. And we're going to see how that later. The second, we're going to talk about Code Interpreter. Code Interpreter is basically a sandbox that is spun up in the cloud and that runs code on your behalf to do more than what a large language model can do. So it basically runs Python code in the cloud based on the context it gets and gives you either deeper analysis or can even give you some really, really, really impressive visuals of what the content is all about. And finally, image generation. You can create images via some of the image models that are available baked into M365 Copilot. And then you can generate anything. Like you can generate a banner for your team. You can create visuals. You can also just illustrate the context of a chat as an image to share with your colleagues and so on. And these don't require any real, I'm going to quote that, real code, where basically these are just configured in the manifest. You don't need external services. You don't need APIs. You don't need infrastructure. This is all baked into the platform for you to use. One thing that you might be asking yourself is, why do we have embedded knowledge and why do we have SharePoint knowledge? Well, I think they do serve different scenarios, right? If you're talking about like very few, very stable documents that are less than 1 megabyte each, which actually might actually be up to 512 megabyte. I need to check that. Embedded knowledge is a great thing. If you don't have a lot of docs, but they are very precise, very specific to the job to be done, let's just embed them, right? If you have large corpus of documents that is getting frequently updated, this is not for you. Embedded knowledge is really for something that is a lot more stable and should be potentially versioned with the app or with the agent that travels with it. So when it's large and frequent updated, well, let's just use SharePoint. If you want to have a very specific ACLs, you want to control who has access to what are the docs you want to share, what are the docs you don't want to share in a SharePoint lib, then definitely SharePoint is better than embedded knowledge, because embedded knowledge makes the documents available to everybody that has access to the agent. And if you want just to have the simplest possible setup and like the maximum portability, so you can get that zip file and share it with somebody outside of the realm of your own organization, embedded knowledge is for you. Something to note, in Copilot Chat, you have the ability to share agents with other people, the same way you have with Agent Builder. Well, in this case, it's really cool. Why? Because it's also the permissions to these files also travel. So the files are only limited to the people that have access to the agent, which makes our life a lot easier. So let's dive into the code and see how that works out. So let me open up VS Code and start from where, actually I'm already in VS Code, and start from where we ended up last week. We had that declarative agent, which is my HR onboarding buddy. That HR onboarding buddy has a set of conversation starters and a simple instruction file. And that's it. Now what we'll want to do, we'll want to expand the capabilities. So how do we do that? First, you will find a capabilities array at the root of your manifest. And this is really where you will want to enable these scenarios. The first thing you want to enable, you will want to say, I want to be able to have that. I don't know why I did that. Go away. Okay, give me close that. Okay, so name here. I want that to be embedded knowledge. And then embedded knowledge will allow you to specify a list of files. You just format this before I just go crazy on formatting in my file. A list of files, and these files needs to be local to your package, and that's what I already have. So I have 3 different files right here that are in there. These are document file like docx that has content. We support Word, PowerPoint, Excel, PDFs, and a couple of other file types right here. And now here we'll be able to say, hey, you know what? I want to have a couple of files. Actually, it's not that. It is this here, which will have a file. I need to put the embedded knowledge / benefits guide.docx. And that is my first one. So that's good. Now I could add a second one. I could add a third one. So I will basically cover for all of the different files that I have in my folder here, which here would then become employee. Copilot should actually trigger now. Yeah. And finally, ID setup guide .docx. So now I have my 3 files that are available. I already have this agent provision, but if you want, I can just go here and just hit provision, hit local right here, and it's going to automatically deploy that to Copilot Chat with these files. And take just a couple of seconds to make sure that these are already available and indexed so we can look for that content. So it's quite powerful. So first thing I will want to do here is I will want to go to Copilot Chat. I have this here. I'm just going to ask, how many PTO days do I get? And I know that this information is in the documents that have been ingested. And we can see it here, right? You can say, okay, I'll search for, that is kind of a hint that it's doing right now, search on content within Microsoft 365 data. And now we can see that according to the Java Insurance Employee Handbook, so now it has access to that context. Before, we didn't have access to any of that. And now you're going to see how many PTOs do you have per tenure. And then you can start chatting with this information, which is absolutely powerful. I think it's something that you should be looking into to embed context inside an agent out of the box. Then second thing that I want to do is I want to add another capability. And in that case, it's name and it's code interpreter. And code interpreter will allow you to run code, but not just run code on random things. It's going to first fetch information that it has access to, in this case, one of my embedded knowledge files, and it will be able to apply some really, really powerful calculations on top of it. So for instance, let me do that. Let me continue with the PTO that I have here, and then let me go right there. And now I can just ask it, how does my PTO accrual work over my first 3 years? Can you chart it? And then it's going to do a couple of things. First, it's going to get context from the embedded knowledge. So now you see where we're adding layers of complexity here. And now you're going to see the full on coding capabilities happening here. And now it's going to do a really cool analysis based on the content that you have. And then afterwards, it's just going to accrue over the first 3 years based on the cumulative PTO days that we have and on a number of months that it goes for you. So that is really, really, really powerful, right? We were able to, with just one single thing, we were able to generate that. And then we can massage it, right? We can just ask it to do more in depth, change the type of reports, do a little bit more analysis, and so on and so forth. So with just adding the code interpreter capability, we now got a really, really, really interesting visual for anybody there. Finally, let's add our graphic arts capability, which adds the support for generating images. And that is as simple as that. Those are super simple. You don't even need, that's not what I want. You don't even need to provide any other context. They're just on, and they're now available for you to try. So let me try a scenario here where I can just basically go and do another scenario that will use the 3 capabilities together. The first, if I take 16 weeks of parental leave plus use 10-day PTO in this year, how many days will I actually be in the office? So that's a very complex question to ask an LLM. And that's really where we're going to use the context that comes from the embedded knowledge and then automatically bring it straight here. Now we're going to see that we have 244 days, and it does all of these things. And then it does that, and then it does the full calculation right from here and even shows you what it did as a way to do that, so on and so forth. Really, really powerful. Used both. But what if I'm doing this and I'm just asking, hey, you know what? Just generate an image representing a calendar view for my leave if I start my leave on May 1st, 2026. And now what's going to happen here is going to reuse the same context that it has, and we'll pass that to the image generation capabilities. And it will come back to us as a full calendar view. Might be a little bit slow in this case because it is a diffusion model, so it's going to take some time to get to that. But I think it is an extremely powerful scenario for simpler use cases directly inside M365 Copilot. And what did we do? We basically added just these 14 lines of code, and that's it. Nothing too complex. We just instructed the agent to behave in a certain way, and that's it. Let me go back to my last slide just so you can go on and start using this capability today. You go to my last slide. So we covered the embedded knowledge, code interpreter, and image generation. On the next session, we're going to expand the knowledge reach inside SharePoint, inside Teams, using web also as a new grounding source. And if you want to try it out, it's available right now on my GitHub. I'm going to make sure to put the link in the chat right away so we can, so you get, oh, that's not what I wanted. So you guys, you can go and try it now.